Boy JD Nochill.
And it's your girl CJ.
And it's a no chill session. We got a lovely guest, Miss Yang in this bad boy. How we doing?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
I'm blessed.
We're great.
I'm blessed. How you doing? Where you originally from? Tell the people where you from.
I'm originally from Littleton, Colorado.
All right.
Okay, 30 minutes away from Denver, so basically Denver. That's what we say. And then I moved to LA 2015. Oh my gosh, it's been 6 years.
Don't say it like that now. You know it's been the best 6 years of your life.
It wasn't.
I mean, like, hell no. You know what you talking about?
Definitely not.
I'm not a yes and that. That's not true.
No.
Okay.
But no, it's like I love it now.
Yeah.
I love LA now. It's still like we're not in LA right now, but like
No.
I love LA.
It takes a while to grow on you, but it does eventually.
It really, honestly, I don't want to live anywhere else now. Like, like, I'm not going to live in any, well, okay, let me rephrase this. I need to live in a city. Like, there's no way people would move back during the pandemic, like, in homogenous places. Like, once you're, like, around a diverse, like a city, like a metropolitan area, there's no way you can live anywhere else.
Because now it's like you adapted to a bigger market in town to go back to a smaller market. It's kind of like, am I backtracking?
It really, and it does feel like you're, like, going in a time machine. Like, I went to Florida, and it was like, what year is it?
Oh, wow. What part?
Panama City Beach, Florida. It was not.
I ain't never been there. Is it nice down there?
It is.
I've never been, but it sounds rough.
It was. They said they were gonna put me on a boat, and they said you're about to have a redneck and good time. And I was like,
redneck good time. That's what they told you?
Yeah, and I was
no, that's not for us.
Did they say that with a discount?
I was like, I don't know, but it was like a really weird situation. You know where there's a lot of American flags everywhere?
Oh, that's the situation.
I was like, okay, no, I'm not into this. Like, that's why I can't live in any other, because living in small town USA, it's not.
It's small town USA. You're going to feel it.
It's small town and small mind.
Exactly.
We don't have time for that.
Yeah, like there were one of the young boys there, like there was a son of a friend. He was perplexed that I existed. Like he was like, wait, so you're from you're Korean and like are you like that's so cool? But he was 13 years old. I will give him that.
No,
but that's the thing. That's what I'm saying.
That's what they instilling in them.
But that's
what they put in. That's what they put in them.
And everybody thinks they're like, oh my God, this we live in an echo chamber, the liberal might. I was like, you go anywhere other than LA or New York City, everything's the same. The majority of the country is very much the same. Everything is not changing. If you want to live in simple times where things don't change, there's
a town for you.
Ain't no vegan restaurants nowhere else, I can tell you that.
No vegan restaurants.
No.
I had frog legs over there.
Shut up. They are good.
And you got to see the hamstrings of like the frog legs when you're eating them. You're like, no, thank you.
No. So,
goodness.
Okay.
I met Yang in a comedy class, almost 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was pre-pandemic.
Yes. And shout out to David Arnold.
Oh, he's
David Arnold's.
I saw him recently, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk after.
Yeah.
In a class that we didn't get to finish.
Yep.
Because of COVID.
But super, super funny. And we talked for 2 hours on the corner.
Oh my God.
We were sexually assaulted on this corner.
I don't think. No, I enjoyed it. Okay. It was consensual for me.
It was.
What kind of sexual assault are we talking about? I just want for the viewers.
It was just a random guy who came by and was just doing the most while we were standing there talking. But it just added to the whole conversation that we were having. Like it was just a genuine, organic vibe. But I remember that, and I never forgot that. And I was like, man, if I get an opportunity to bring Yang in and just talk to her, have her share her story, I'm gonna do it. So here we are.
No, I feel like immediately we've connected.
Yes.
And I think we connected on our dating lives, and you give me a lot of wisdom. You're like, men act like this when this happens, and I was like, my mind was blown, and you're teaching me right away. You're like, this is known things. I'm like,
Hold on now. I feel like hold on. Let me speak up. Men act like what percent?
Listen, because
these are jokes. These are jokes. Give me the scenario.
Yang was going through a similar situation, and how y'all don't listen. Mm-hmm. y'all don't want to put forth no effort.
Don't say y'all.
Yes, y'all men
No.
across the. Listen, it was an eye opener for me because I'm like, oh, this going in on your side too.
Hold on. But we can't just same way we not gonna put women in a box. We don't
Okay.
want to put men in the box either. There's a select few of women and men that may do things that we don't like.
Okay, yeah, but it seems
Thank you, Yang.
Okay,
Please.
Yes, however, but there was these situations where you're not in a box, but you guys are in multiple categories, and you guys within that category, you are in that box, right? Of being a dude. And then what would happen is I'm like, yeah, and then he was mean to me, and then he was all being like nice to me later, and you're like, yeah, like you don't need to fuck with that. He either decides right at the moment that he's gonna treat you a certain way with consistency or not. And I was like, those are facts. I was like, but what if he's moody? He's like, then that's not worth you dealing with.
It's not.
And I was like, that's true. That's true.
She's too freaking dope for that shit, man. Like when you meet another dope ass person, especially women, when other come across each other, and it's like, dang. I've wasted my time definitely on douche dudes and who just should not have even been in my space.
Right.
And so I can recognize it too when a woman is waiting for a guy to really acknowledge her own value, but she has to acknowledge it first.
Yes.
And that's why I was like, yo, I see it, man. Give him the deuces.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you did really reiterate that, and I was like, you're right. And it's so hard because you know these things, but when you're in it, you're complete. Like
Most
dumb.
people are oblivious to certain situations, especially when you're sitting in it. But once you step back from it and look at it from a different point of view, it's like, oh, that's what it was. I guess a follow-up question is, what got you into comedy? What got the passion for you to get into comedy, by the way?
Oh yeah, I always talk about this myself. I am kind of a weirdo. Okay, and I feel like when you grow up kind of being weird, like not like fitting in right away, you need to develop skills, and I feel like that was the skill I was developing, was just like making people laugh. Like if you say something weird, then following it up with like, just kidding though, you know what I mean? And then like everybody deciding, okay, she's not actually weird, and I'm like, cool, like just doing that. So but it's just like a pipe dream, right? You watch SNL, you watch Mad TV, you think, oh my God, that'd be so cool, but you don't really, you don't humor it. And then, I graduated high school, then I joined the military for like 5 years. Chelsea and I,
He was in the Army.
Undisrespectful.
Oh, really?
Wait.
I was in the Air Force.
All right.
That's what I told him.
Air condition?
Air condition. Oh, that's part of my joke. That's part of my joke, bro. Like, we're not doing much, okay? Your tax dollars not going into a lot of things. Let me tell you that right now. It's not. I'm sorry. We are sitting comfortably, and you guys are spending too much money for it. No, but
Just kidding. Just kidding.
JK. You know, and everybody, your friends
Just in
again.
case.
We're friends. No, and then you know how it is. You're like, we do not belong in uniforms, especially if you're a creative person.
No.
And I didn't realize, because I was trying to reform myself out of being like this weirdo, this like out of the box person, and I was like, I totally can follow the rules. I found out I can't. Don't really like to do that.
It don't flow with us.
I don't want to be told what to do, especially if it doesn't make sense to me.
The portion right there,
Yes.
It doesn't make sense.
That's how we vibe. Like, why did we waste those 6 years?
No,
but we needed to figure that out.
That structure still helped out. It gave us.
Okay, those are facts.
You know what I'm
Sam.
saying? That structured in some form of fashion, outside of the negative standpoint, whatever that may.
I think Chelsea always had it though, because she has a kid. You get to the things about regimen, right? Like you get it. She works out still.
I
all
don't
this
feel
stuff.
like the military gave me regimen.
Yeah,
My mama taught me show up
Exactly.
to places on time. My mama taught me show up to places on time clean. That's what the military teaches you. Show up on time, show up on
Did it
time
tell you to
clean.
get up at 4 a.m.? Did it tell you to don't sleep for 18 hours?
I mean, we went to school.
Not for 18
School
hours.
makes you get up early in the morning.
I don't know about being up for 18
But
hours.
I feel like
or
she has
20
a
hours a day.
personality that no matter what,
Yeah,
whatever
right.
situation would
Okay.
deliver it. But like for me, I'm not. Like I will say I needed it a little bit. Like
Yeah.
I needed like my mom tried to break me of it, and she's a scary woman, and I still was late and stuff like that. Like I still was arriving late, like throughout the whole 5 years. Like, they're just like, I don't know how.
You didn't give a damn.
Isn't that
She said, "Fuck you and your time, sir." I love it. Honestly,
Wait, does your mom still have the store on Crenshaw?
She does. She is out there right now. Yeah, we were just talking about how Nipsey passed away like 3 years ago. This day, it was like maybe a block away from our store.
Crazy.
Shut up.
Yeah, it's insane. He did so much for the community.
Yeah.
I know. But yeah, we still have the store. Beauty supply shop. I work there once a week.
When she told me that, I thought that shit was absolutely amazing because I feel like the Asian community and the Black community have a lot of similarities, but then there's also like this unspoken way we look at one another.
Oh, yeah.
As if we're so distant from each other, but we're really not.
No.
And so some of the jokes that Yang would do in class, I'm like, yo, this shit would kill. Like, I wish I had this background or this perspective to speak on because it's hilarious. And it's like, yo, you've got to, the things that go on in the store or some of her jokes and material about her mom.
It's amazing.
Hilarious.
I love going to the store, and I don't like get to like talk about it enough. Like, you know, like nobody really understands what it's like to be at the store, or even in South Central in general. And it's like just like a rich place to be. Like the best stories come from that place. Like this girl was telling me the other day. So there was an unhoused individual asking for money.
Pause.
Yeah.
Unhoused.
Like
that's my new shit. We don't say homeless.
That's a polite way.
Yeah.
Fuck that, because that. Oh, I get.
Okay. She's already came off nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
I don't. Yeah. With the people. Unhoused individuals are fucking people.
Yeah.
We need to not be just saying willy-nilly homeless.
Yeah.
No, like it's a problem. You know whose problem it is? It's everybody's problem. Not that person's problem.
I dig that.
Yeah. So it was an unhoused individual who was like, she was like, oh, watch out for him. And I was like, why? And then she was like, because he was like, hey, do you have anything? And she was like, yeah, here's $1. And then he was just like, how about you give me $5 and I'll give you this $1 back? And I was just like, and I was like, wait, did you give him the $5? She's like, no, was I born yesterday? And I was like, but he said it with so much confidence. Like, I would have just done it. She's like, no, you can't do that out here. And I was like, okay.
Because he gonna tell all his friends. I think that's the idea.
Yeah, but I just was like, she's like, yeah, but she was like, could you believe that I gave him $1? And then he was like, how about now that I have $1, let me kind of like barter with you, get you that $5. And she was like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna give you $5. I gave you $1. And I was like, I don't know, it would have worked on me. But
you sound like you have a gentle and kind heart though at the core of it.
I think so. I'm a little bit too gentle. Sometimes I'm like, I want to de-escalate so much. I will like, it's kind of bad, but I have ADD too. So if somebody was like, you know, if I forgot something, like I said, I'm late, and they're like, you know, you were supposed to be this, I would have believed it. If you guys were like, you're late, and I was on time, I was like, I would apologize right away. Like, I wouldn't even check if I was supposed to be here at 3:30.
You gotta run the receipts.
I'm not good at running receipts.
Oh.
She put it like, she gonna get good at it.
I'm gonna try, because especially I have a new room. I don't want to blow.
No.
Yeah. But I have a roommate where like we've had like a couple times where he's just like, yeah, you did this, and I was like, I don't think I did that, but I'm sorry. Okay, I did that.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
He's tapped in already to your nature, and so he's probably using it because he's a man. So, but not all men.
Well,
not all men.
I'm gonna say his you sell it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say if he is that kind of guy, I would say he's like any other person who considers to use people with kindness to their advantage, and so as a disadvantage for you, but as an advantage for them. And so I would just say karma is gonna come back full circle for him if he is being negative, or I would say doing you a disservice. So I would just say that for the record, because not all men.
Not all
men.
Not all men.
Hashtag.
I would say outside of comedy, what all are your other creative attributes?
I would say everything. I am all creative, like needs to be. I'm just kidding. No, that I don't have that big of an ego. I feel like creativity like comes when, I don't know, when you need it the most. Like when I feel like that's when it comes to me. But I've done art, I've like written stuff, but I think the thing that like is number one is stand-up comedy. Like I've done improv. I went through all of Second City. I went through UCB.
Ooh.
Like, and nothing feels as creative and like artistic and like awesome as comedy, like doing stand-up.
Now, from that, would you say that you have a strong base in improv for sure?
Yeah, for sure. Even though I've said no to you many times, which is like a big no in improv. But I was like, no, we're not doing that today. We're not doing like yes, yeah. Like I'm gonna like make sure to say what I want to say, which is actually kind of interesting. I think that's a weird thing with improv, right? Like you guys just told me like, no, you got to run receipts. But then in improv, it's constantly like saying yes and, and I'm like kind of like no, but that's what I'm gonna say from now on a little bit. No, but I can do this instead.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's growth. Look at that.
That's a polite way to say
already. So we've talked about this before, but I always like to get the ladies' perspective on dating here in LA, which we already know can be tragic, if nothing else. What do you feel like is one of the biggest pluses and minuses of being here in LA and dating?
Pluses and minuses?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, it's like a buffet. There's a lot of people. Okay, lots of people to choose from. You like if you lived anywhere else, you wouldn't have many options. But here, you can date any kind of person.
Right.
And it is a tricky place to maneuver. I don't know how to like go through like trying to find and connect with people, especially when there's so many people on different shit and we're on different wavelengths. And when the season's right and we pass through, which is like, I don't know when that happens. I don't know. But for me, it's been fun too.
Yes.
Like, it's been fun. Lots of good stories. Like I feel like a lot of material comes from dating.
Yes.
I would say when you do date, I guess, do you like learn a lot from each, I guess, situation or scenario?
Yeah, I do. And I think like the biggest thing I am learning is like, you know, like my value and like intrinsically knowing that I'm not wrong. Yeah. Like I used to really feel like I was born into this like world wrong. Like everything I think, everything I do is wrong. But then I was like, no, it's just different. And like reframing words and like my lifestyle is like, it's not good for them, but this is what's good for you. Yeah. So I think that's just understanding not to like have any vendettas against dudes and just being like, we were different. Not like, I'm trying to like, you know, not feel like slighted by anybody. But that's what I've learned, like through each person, is that everybody's on their different path and like they're here for a season. Yeah. And sometimes people are here for a reason. So I just know that and go on. I don't know if that's
No, that's perfect. Listen, I feel like that's why we had a good vibe, because I feel like I'm a little quirky and outside the box. Like I'm 5'10". People are like, oh, you should play basketball and you should do volleyball. I was on the speech and debate team. I wanted to do and still desire to do the opposite of what everyone thinks that I should do. But let it not just that be my drive, because this is what I'm naturally drawn to. Had I been drawn to basketball or drawn to sports, I would have did that. But I had no desire. And just because I have a height advantage doesn't mean that that's what I should be doing with my life, especially if I'm unhappy. And then, like you said, and we just had a great conversation with our guy named Duke, and he was saying, you're born into the world with all these things already chosen for you. Your name is chosen for you. What you eat is chosen for you. So then you do have to spend life kind of figuring out, what do you like? What do you enjoy? And what do you enjoy? And what makes you happy? And then as you're finding that, there are people who tell you, no, that's wrong, or that's this, and it's like, so then you change it, trying to figure out because someone told you that was wrong, and then you keep going, and you're like, well, maybe it was wrong for you, but it makes me happy. Yeah. And that's what I feel like is really important at the end of the day, is finding what truly makes you happy. And the right people and person, I feel like even with dating, will gravitate to you, because as trash as LA is, what is meant to be for us individually will come to us. I believe that wholeheartedly.
Law of attraction.
I'm not here to force anything. So when it doesn't work out, it's not like, oh, I'm distraught. It's like, oh, okay, well, great.
Yeah.
This has ended. Thanks.
The weight lifted too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll do that again. What?
There's a weight lifted. You know what I'm saying? Just dust your shoulder off. There you go. You ain't dust. Look at that. Look, let your hair back. Let it down.
This is why I love you. I feel like you always like know how to tie it up in a bow at the end too. You're like,
just
this
a
is
bit.
yeah. You're no, I feel that.
What you call it? Like the donut thing? What you call it? Southern.
Southern hospitality.
Nah, it's like Southern wordage.
Oh,
Lord,
I forgot.
I like that. No, that's why I always am like after I always feel like my cup is filled, refreshed.
Yes.
Yeah, I like leave knowing.
I guess I would ask you, what is something that you're working on to be the best at in the next 5 years?
I keep mentioning stand-up comedy.
Stand up.
Yeah.
You've been out here.
Well,
hitting the streets. I've seen it.
Well, I saw what you said about like the attraction thing. Like people just state that, right? And you don't really understand it. And then there's like the hustle culture, right? And you're like, wait, so am I supposed to hustle or am I supposed to attract? I mean, how am I supposed to do all this stuff? And like this time around, I've just been like, and people said it to me before, but just making connections, like connecting with people, remember people's names, like knowing that, just like we're trying to make friendships here, right? You know, like we're finding like chosen family throughout the world. And since I've been doing that, I've just like, this time hasn't been stressful because sometimes trying to like get on shows, chase comedy is stressful. So stressful. Yeah, and you just think, what am I doing wrong? Whatever, you know, like what did I say? Like you kind of get in your head. But this time around, I've just been like, hey, I remember we hung out once, like, could I do your show? And then people being like, oh yeah, I do remember. Thanks for remembering. Yeah, of course you could do our show. That's how I've been getting on like shows. People are asking like, oh yeah, like you're like really on it, you're working hard. I was like, no, actually this time I'm working the least amount on it and getting more. And I'm like, there's something shifting. Like I'm not perfect, I'm still very flawed person, but I'm learning at this stage of my life of just like investing in the connections in a way where I'm like, I may never see you again, but I just want you to know that like at this moment I care about you, and we may never see or talk to each other again, and then also it might come back around and it will feed both of us.
Wow.
So that will be good. That's what I'm learning.
It comes full circle, y'all.
It really does. Listen, I ghosted Yang on accident.
Accident.
I did.
You had a rough year prior.
I did have a rough year, and we were like, when you meet somebody and then it pop off, you're like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get together. And as a person who's been get together by industry people, it's like I try to genuinely make a point that if I say I'm gonna hang out with you, I'm gonna hang out with you. And so it never happened, and I kept seeing it. And then here's social media. What makes it bad is you still see the person living and doing things and this and that, and you're like, yeah, you're full of shit just like the rest of them, right?
I didn't even feel that, though, because I feel this, like, I don't know what sign you are, and I fuck with signs, so
Cancer.
Come for me in the comments if you don't fuck with signs. Okay, you're This makes so much sense. I swear to God, I'd be fucking with Cancers, like, high-key.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a
your
Gemini.
sign? Are you a Gemini?
Yeah, and don't start with me, okay? Gemini's get a bad rap.
start with her.
Don't start
what
with
month,
me.
Gemini?
May.
Oh, okay.
Gemini.
Oh,
and a
yeah,
female
okay.
May Gemini. I have a theory that male June Geminis, don't fuck with them. Male June Geminis, don't fuck with them.
Well, I would say anybody Gemini in June is
what?
They definitely yin and yang. All right, 50%.
Right.
Again, I don't know about May Geminis, but I know June Geminis. They like the Sour Patch Kid. You know what I'm saying? They tag your car and then they'd be like, oh. You know what I'm saying? Is that yang?
I'm not. I'm an air sign. Like, I float from thing to thing. Somebody's like, that's why it's good that I decided on comedy, because if somebody was like, be a writer, I'd be like, okay, I guess I'll be a writer. Like, you can offer me, I will float. I'm a floater. Yeah. Big air sign. I need, like, Cancers are great because they're loyal, but they also tell you, like, no, don't trust this person. Yeah. And, like, I need that kind of guidance because I trust everybody. It's not good.
Yes, and I'm skeptical of everybody and everything at all times.
No.
What? You would have to show me 1,000 times for me to be like, I can breathe. I can trust this person.
Wait, when's your birthday?
June 24th.
Oh, okay. Okay.
She was almost.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
She might have been a different person too.
Shut up. But listen, when I came back around, this is what it piggybacks so much on what you said, because it's like I did make the connection and I didn't want to lose it, even though I had been gone. So I was like, you know what? Just acknowledge what you did and say, yo, I think you're still hella dope. And I want to reconnect for sure. And are you okay? And she sent me a message like, girl, what the fuck are you talking about?
I've been waiting for you to hit me up. Where you been at?
Nobody's
Girl, you ain't
tripping.
talked to me in a minute. What's going on?
I literally, when I read your message, I went like,
oh.
Yeah,
I could breathe because you could have been like, bitch, that was a year ago. Ain't nobody fucking with your ugly ass now.
No.
Peace out.
Okay, and also it's not because I was in your DMs being like, you look amazing. Fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji. I was like, oh my god, look at that body. I was like, what are you doing? Like, look at you, like all this stuff. I was just like, you look amazing. I was like, you have like, you're smiling ear to ear. I was like, and I know you had like a rough year prior, and I just was like, I was happy to see you happy and like living your best life. And I honestly just love that. I just love
yes, that's
that.
what I want. I'm like, and it truly inspires us as a collective, as creatives, as a whole, to see each other out doing shows, making those connections, because it's like we all struggle with it in some form, but when we see the other one doing it, we're like, okay, I can do this shit.
I was gonna say, before we wind out, I got one last question to ask you. What is something that you would tell your younger self if you could?
Oh my god. I don't know, something stupid like shower more often. Or
We're gonna take that on the out of here. You sure? You sure you want to leave that in? I appreciate the honesty.
This is not pitching, and it's something she was saying.
Hilarious. Just kidding.
Just kidding. No, she's really good at hygiene. I don't know what to say to her because she's so dumb. Like, and it's not. She was stubborn dumb. She's not like. She's like the type of person to be like, I know. You know those people who can't take advice? Or like, I already know that. I've done that. They live that life. So at that moment, I wouldn't be able to say anything to her. Instead of being like, you think you're doing good.
Just wait.
Yeah, just wait.
Right, what would you tell somebody who's watching you? Because you say you're watching people, but there's people watching you. What would you tell people who's following your footsteps? Who's gonna, who's watching this interview right now?
Oh, I don't know. I don't want to say like don't be too hard on yourself, but like be honest with yourself. You know, like don't just always be like it's okay, like you deserve this, sometimes you gotta like, tighten up those laces. You gotta like know what needs to be done and do it. But also just remember that like, it's not always about climbing a mountain. Yeah. We might find out that there is no mountain, it's just a path and it's completely flat and it's gonna end and we're all gonna die. So that I'd be like, is that a great message for the people coming up? You're all gonna die one day.
Fulfill your life purpose, whatever that may be.
Life is short. It's shorter than we all thought.
Way shorter than we all thought.
Doom and gloom.
You've inspired the people,
yeah. I've inspired. No, okay. I will just say that figure out what matters to you, and that might not always be climbing a mountain.
Facts.
Just remember that. You might, and value the people around you. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Find what's right for you.
Yep.
It ain't got to be climbing a mountain. It ain't got to be curing whatever disease out there, whatever that may be, but find what's right for you. All right? But
we do need people to cure more diseases and tell jokes, though.
We gonna tell these jokes, Shane.
We gonna tell jokes.
We gonna tell jokes.
So for those who is a scientist, you do your science,
you do you.
Yeah.
And we gonna do us. But it's your boy JD,
and it's your girl Chelsea.
And it's been a no-chill session. Appreciate you, Yang, for coming in today.
Thank you.
No, it's been a blessing.
Yes,
we gonna go ahead up out of this bad boy.
We out.
My name is Yang, and this was a no-chill session.